Morning, y'all. Give me a second here. Get synced up. I remember moderators. I remembered to hit slow chat this morning before we went live. Woo! Y'all proud of me? Happy Hump Day, everybody here at the Nation. Yeah. Happy Hump Day. Let me see here. No, I look like a ghost with that kind of lighting. Okay, there we go. That's a little better. Just got to make sure we're 5x5 and we'll get into it, folks. And we are slow mode, River Rat says. Good morning. Let me see here. C over Lazy R Homestead. Congrats on being the first one in this morning. You have the bragging rights. And let's see who is in the chat here. Gray the Beard, thank you. We are 5x5. Tasha, good morning, ma'am. Jim Cronmiller, good morning. How are you doing? Bama Jen, good morning. Prep This Arkansas, the prepping preacher. I saw a bunch of comments yesterday after the fact from you, brother. I'm sorry I missed him live. Shorty is in the house. I recognize that name. Tamara, good morning. Back to the woods. How are y'all doing down in Tennessee, brother? Paul is in the house. Good morning. Karen's Garden. Okay, folks, so a lot of new faces showing up here at the Nation. I'm not complaining. That is awesome. But if you're new, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. I don't have the fancy graphics on the screen. Or shooting a thumbs up. And also a quick shout out to the people that shoot the thumbs down. I appreciate the dedication, and you're actually helping us be found here on YouTube. So you can hit either thumb you want to. Either way, I appreciate it. And as always, we have a backup channel literally linked right down below in the video description in case YouTube gets shady on us. All right, so let's talk about fertilizer this morning. This intel is down below. So someone day before yesterday mentioned a fertilizer shortage. It was the first I'd heard about it. I'm like, that's interesting. You know, that would cause a lot of problems if there's truth to it. And then I was lurking over at, where was I at, actually? I was over at Tribes on his live stream lurking. Somebody mentioned it in the chat, and then I've also seen it show up in, I believe, Rudy's chat over at the Alaska Prepper. And then I started digging around, because usually when that many people in the community, different communities, are talking about something, usually where there's that kind of smoke, there's fire. Homestead Homeboy, North Carolina, thank you, sir. Says, morning, son. Gas in Elkin is $3.01 a gallon. It was $3.29. I was paying attention when I drop my kids off from school every day, and then I come back home. It was $3.29 all through here. So either it's going to be going down here or going up in your area. So, but thank you for that. So I started digging around. Sure enough, there's a fertilizer shortage someday, and a pretty severe one globally. Now, is this going to lead to famine? Okay, yes and no. No, I do not think it's going to lead to famine here in the United States, but please understand, we do have people that watch Prepper Nation in other countries. Some of the smaller countries that are already struggling with their supply chain, yeah, they could in fact see famine to some degree. So keep a lookout for that. So here's the deal. Let's jump on the other side of the fence here for a second, okay, folks? And not be patriots for a minute. Let's be the people that control the world, the puppet masters. We don't have that kind of money, right? But let's just fantasize here for a minute. If I want to completely get rid of real food, okay, like Walmart. Walmart comes into town, or they used to. They scope out the competition. They figure out how they can get rid of the competition so they're the only game in town. So, if the overlords want fake food, which they do, they've posted it literally online, Agenda 30, they got to get rid of the real food. So how do they do that? It really comes in 3 stages. I wrote these down so I wouldn't forget. Number 1, you've got to have something that causes major disruption, like a work disruption where people cannot work in processing plants and things like that. Check that one off. Thanks to the C-19. Number 2, you want to stop the movement of food, said resources and things like that. Deb Martin, welcome to the Blue Coats. Thank you very much. So again, you can check that one off. We've got ships out at harbor. We've got shipping containers stacked up. We've got regulations in some of the more liberal states. And from what I understand, it makes it almost impossible for truck drivers in these states. Number 3, then you're going to attack the source. You're going to attack financially the producers of said food. In this case, this is going to be farming, okay? This is the stage we are entering now. They're attacking farmers, I believe, outright. They've taken care of how do you get it back and forth. They've taken care of the processing plants. And so now they're coming after farmers. What this means for us short term is we're already seeing prices go up because of inflation, but you're going to see more price added to items that require fertilizer, okay? They're going to become much more expensive here in the United States. As a prepper, you want to get to the point where you can, grow your own stuff. Have that kind of a lifestyle where you're self-sufficient. And you can get by without fertilizer. You can use other things. Not a master green thumb over here or anything. I know coffee grounds work, and I know that banana peels work to some extent, okay? And this is an option for preppers on a much lower scale, but farmers and butchers, thank you very much. Dave says also the butchers are overwhelmed. They're coming for the food source and the producers now, absolutely. But for farmers and things like this, they can't use coffee grounds all throughout the farm. There's no way they can make that work. The people pulling the strings understand this, okay? They know that Farmer Joe is not going to be able to go out here on 1,000 acres and lay banana peels down everywhere. Just doesn't work that way. So they are now attacking the supply line, the actual source. Nicole, yeah, a bunch of people are talking about Ice Age Farmer, Christian. I've not gotten over there to watch that video this morning. Nicole says, according to Ice Age Farmer, Iowa farmers threatened with eminent domain will stop growing across the Corn Belt. They want to frustrate farmers. They want to price them out of the industry. They want to get rid of the real food because that's the way they push the fake food. And you can argue, I guess, we can debate on fake or whatever, but save the crickets, the crickets and the ants and the roaches and all this stuff. And then, all the lab grown and all that pink slime stuff. They want this. This is the new thing they want by 2030. So they've got to push the older way out. And that's what they're doing. Let me see here. There were 3 that are really. Soybeans, I know, is one. Corn is the second one. I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. And I believe the third is going to be wheats and grains, are the 3 that are experiencing the most disruption right now because of the fertilizer. But again, there are going to be other things. So famine, not necessarily here in the United States. That's not the plan here. Other smaller poor countries, they may suffer from famine in order to install the new system here in the United States. The fake, heavily processed food is going to be making its grand entrance. There's already some of the Impossible meats and stuff like that out there, but they're really going to be pushing this over the course of the next few years. They want it to be commonplace. Meg Kennedy. I've seen Tropic Thunder OFC. It's been a while, though. Meg Kennedy says, wait until they come after the water. They're going to do that, too. But, yeah, watch the grocery prices very closely because you're going to start to see a huge uptick on certain items, okay? The second piece of intel that I have down below, this was interesting. Did anybody catch Ted Cruz over on the Joe Rogan show, the Joe Rogan podcast? Monica says Impossible foods are plant-based. They have plants in them, but they're not, they're not as healthy as they're pitched. They're not entirely plants, so you need to look into that. So Let's see here. River rat saw it. Okay, that's awesome. So Joe Rogan on his podcast brought up the concept of secession. Will Texas ever, secede from or cede from the Union? Ted Cruz basically admitted that they have entertained the idea and that several governors have gotten together and they have had what I would consider to be serious talks about it. He says right now Texas has the responsibility to the United States of America to stick around. I think the way he worded it, and I'm paraphrasing, is that Texas is bringing some common sense to the United States. And they're trying to right the ship, if you will. And he said they're not there yet. And my antenna at this point went up. I'm like, yet. So we have been talking about this, Mr. Cruz. Please go on, Senator Cruz. Then he goes on and he says, but in the event that Texas decides to leave, we're going to take NASA with us. We're going to take the military with us. And we're going to take the oil with us. And I said, okay. So this man has a list, which means, again, very important people have sat down and had this conversation in Texas, but not only in Texas, okay? Because if you'll remember, last month there was a meeting. They had the press conference and everything, but Governor Abbott was actually meeting with governors from other states. So, this is personal opinion. I think that they've had these talks in a closed room somewhere, and I think these governors were involved in the talks as well. And to go back over those, I made the list again, okay? Let's see here. Texas, obviously. Oklahoma, their governor was there. Arizona, Georgia, Iowa, Nebraska, Idaho, South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, and Ohio. So I personally believe, and again, theory, folks, theory, that they've had high-level talks and that they plan to, at some point, they've drawn a line in the sand. And they said, once we get past this certain point, we're going to have to leave the Union. I think Texas is going to spearhead it. I think a lot of governors are on board as well. And by his own admission on the podcast, Joe Rogan's podcast, he said that we're going to take the military with us. So this lets me know they may not take the entire military, but they do have a lot of military support. So they're giving you some answers out in the wide open, but they're trying to cover them up. Ted Cruz was. Please, South Carolina, join them. Don't mess with Texas, Lorenzo's boyfriend. There you go. Casey says it sounds like a civil war is coming. If states leave, there will be a civil war. There is no way D.C. is going to watch this many states just leave, just exit stage left. They're not going to allow that to happen. So it would lead to some kind of conflict. Now, it doesn't mean that every single person watching this video is going to see it with their own eyes. In many cases, you will see severe rationing and things like that. But yeah, that could definitely lead to civil war. And I'm not calling for violence here, but maybe it's time, or maybe we're approaching the time where enough's enough. The federal government overreach is insane in this country. 300 Warriors, what's up? So anyway, getting to the poll this morning, and again, I'll link the intel down below for the podcast where Ted Cruz was on Joe Rogan. Let me see here. Yes, Jonathan, I saw that comment earlier. You have to choose a bug out location. Which one of the following three are you going to choose? The Rocky Mountains pulled in 21% of the live crowd vote. The Appalachian Mountains, 66%. It could be Appalachian, but we call it the Appalachian Mountains here where I'm at, son. And the Plains of Texas, 13%. That poll actually went exactly the way I would have chosen them in order. I would have went with the Appalachian Mountains, then the Rocky Mountains, then the Plains of Texas. But war is the cure. Sometimes it is, OFC. We need to be sure that we exhaust all other options, but to me, we have. Elections aren't working anymore. The government doesn't seem to understand its job anymore. The federal government, at some point, enough's enough. Can't believe we've gotten this bad, to be honest. But for the folks catching it after the fact, let me know what you would do. Where would you bug out to if you had to do it? That's a good comment here. Let's see. Suzanne says the Indian nations have had it with the government. I would say so. I would say so. Out of all of the people here in the United States that have a right to complain, Native Americans have absolutely had it the worst. I mean, let's be real, They had their land taken. They were given contracts to sign. The president went back on the contracts and done them dirty, marched a bunch of them out into the middle of nowhere until they died off. I mean, they've been screwed time and again. And if I'm a Native American, I hate to see what's going on in this country, but I'm also sitting back thinking karma, son. So anyway, let's see, fishing, golfing, guns. Hey, not often in the premiere. I'm glad you're here this morning. And it's good that you fish and you're into guns. I don't know about the golf. I don't really play golf. But in case you got to hide the boomsticks, something about a boating accident or something. Lost them all in a boating accident. The 3 preps this morning. Some people wait on these. The first one actually comes from a comment yesterday that somebody left after the live. Dry shampoo. That's an excellent prep. Number 2, raw honey. Raw honey has tons of different uses. Antibiotic, things of this nature. Lasts forever. Number 3. This is a food prep, but I still want to know what you would do with it. What would you put this in? For me, I'm going to mix it with whey protein, and I'm going to make a shake. Powdered milk. What would you as a prepper use powdered milk for? Not a NASA fan. Yeah, they can keep NASA. Texas can keep NASA, but please bring the oil in the military with you. Okay, I see Big T says bread, Bama Jen, oatmeal, baking. Making butter, Mame says. Potatoes. A lot of bakers in here. To plant food. Awesome, Diane Hanks. Cannabis. Denny just throwing it out there. I'm making cannabis, son. Sauces. That's very good. And baking. That is Tina. Peanut butter balls. Oh, American Oma. I love peanut butter balls. When they're done right. Making butter for says cooking. Little Miss Prepper. Debbie says I can my milk. Making black powder. OFC. He's always thinking about combat, man. That is the one thing that's always on his mind. Glenn Potter says cannabis indeed. Let me grab a visual aid for the scenario this morning. Here I am, middle of the pandemic, licking my fingers all over the place. All right. So, middle of a pandemic, obviously. It's time to bug out. Things have went Mad Max. Okay. You realize that you've done your due diligence, you've prepped supplies, you've prepped, gear, you've got extra gas, you got a nice vehicle, and you realize, oh my God, I didn't pick up any sort of books whatsoever on prepping or anything, and you have time to fill up one of these before you bug out. What are you writing down on this card? That's the scenario this morning. For me, I'm writing down the names of important medicines, especially antibiotics, all the different antibiotics. All the Cillins, basically. But I'm curious to see what everybody else would put down on. Dear Lord, Tasha, I know at this point, some of you be like last will and testament. But what would you put on that note card? Bible passage is very good. Ace is high. Ratio to bleach and water, awesome. The address to all the local libraries in my region, that's fantastic, OFC. He's going to go in there with a shotgun and be like, I need to check out a book, son. Here in Mad Max. Why was I so lazy? Create. I don't know. You could write a poem. Why was I so lazy by create? Wolverines. Wow, Michelle. Info for my kids. Awesome, Jonathan. We'll get into that in just a second, Jimmy. I don't have that written down, but yeah, we can talk about that. Let's see here. Jimmy Robbins, what are your thoughts on China? Just in the last 3 weeks, there was a massive cyber attack. The government is telling people to stockpile food, and they're making mock-ups of the U.S. warships. I just also saw last night that they said they were trying to avoid war with Taiwan. They would rather just take Taiwan, Taiwan accept the fact that China's in control there. That's a really good question. I personally think they're readying for war. I think they're throwing a lot of mixed signals out on purpose so people don't know what's coming. But I think China is shuffling a lot of the food it has over here for soldiers for a war effort. I think they plan on going into Taiwan probably sometime this winter when everybody's beat down, all the countries. I think they expect some sort of response from the United States, probably a naval response. The U.S. will probably, if Joe's willing to do it, send warships over into the Taiwan Strait and try and launch air campaigns from the warships. And I think that they are wargaming how to deal with the U.S. attack and potentially the United Kingdom as well. So I think they are planning something big this winter. I really do. And Russia may be involved as well. Russia may act a fool over in their area and start taking land and stuff like that. But anyway, I think they're playing nice. Well, we really don't want war with Taiwan and so on and so forth. And the whole time they're stacking, they're getting ready. They're not going to let Taiwan sit there for much longer. The microchips, the fact that most of the microchips are there and technology is the future and stuff like that, they're not going to let that fall into U.S. hands or remain independent. There's no way. Yeah, Tracy Johnson said last will and testament. Yeah, at that point, if you don't have any books with you, hopefully you. Let me see here. OFC, I say we nuke Taiwan to set an example. I don't know about that, man. Come on. Start a nuclear war over that place. Are you kidding me? And the U.S. is in a really hard spot here because they're your ally and you want to defend them. But it's honestly the top generals that we have, like McKinsey, etc., they're bound to know it's unwinnable. They're bound to know that we don't stack up well against China over there. What can you do? Nuke Mexico. Oh, God. We're off the rails. So let me see here. CNN, the Clinton News Network, y'all take it with a grain of salt. They're reporting that hot dogs, burgers, and deli cuts are about to see steep increases for the rest of fall and winter. So your carnival meats, basically. Carnival meats. Rattle the saber. I hope that's all they're doing, Big T, if you're talking about China, but I don't think so. I think they're getting ready to go in. And I think that's where the food shortage over there is going to be coming from. They're moving stuff around. So, yeah, if you're a fan of hot dogs, burgers, or deli meats, steep increases on the way. Somebody was in here right before we went live complaining. I think it was Kelly about the rolled burger that you can buy in the store, how it's went up, insanely. Smash the thumbs up. Smash it. Thank you, Kelly. Pharmacy locations, that is awesome, Jim. I did not even consider pharmacy locations. I'm up here writing down medicines. It's been much easier just to write down the pharmacies, right? However, I would say during Mad Max, they're going to be pretty busy early on. Jennifer Cruz, awesome podcast, by the way, last night. I didn't know you were going live, but I did get a notification. Yes, I went to Sam's 2 weeks ago, and they had no hot dogs or hot dog rolls. This week they were back in stock. Tammy says pharmacies will be raided within the first 3 days. Won't be anything left. Yeah, it's not a place that you're going to want to go. I mean, if you're the first one there, maybe, but after that, it's going to be either pick clean or you're going to run into people that have some firepower. It's time for a prepper town, 300 warriors. You let me know when that's set up. I cannot afford a prepper town. If I could, I'd have a jacked up truck. But if somebody sets up a prepper town, y'all let me know. It would be like Tombstone, Arizona back in the day. You know, there's just a saloon, all the preppers hanging out. I can see now Alaska Preppers on his front porch. He wouldn't leave his bunker. He's got a nice bunker. So I don't know about him, man, but, you know, maybe Prepper Nurse 1, he's on his front porch live streaming and all this stuff. People walking down the road live streaming. It would just be a different experience. The pharmacies are already being attacked tomorrow. How so, ma'am? I know that occasionally they'll get broken into and stuff, but curious what you mean there. Grow your own weenies. Lorenza's boyfriend dropping the comment of the day. I could take that so many places. Deer meat, absolutely, Carolina. Although I will say during the Great Depression, venison, they became really scarce fast. Fishing was still there, but you know, the game that you see out in the woods and stuff, it got hunted down pretty fast. Did I hear weenies? Lori all of a sudden typing. She's been lurking the whole time. Debbie, I caught part of Rudy's live stream. I caught like the last 25 minutes maybe. And I'm convinced, you know how he does that exit that he loads up where he's showing off his bunker. I'm convinced that Rudy does this just to rub it in my face because he knows I got a little hovel of a space back here. 300 warriors. John, just come to Texas. I got the land. Well, yeah. Maybe during a Mad Max. You know, I don't know if I can pitch it to my wife today and convince her. I would rather be in Texas, depending on where it's at in Texas, sir. I want a flamethrower if we start a prepper town, Tasha says. 2326 Texas. We need a depression to cut down our hog problem. We don't have them here. But I don't remember which, I lurk in so many. I don't remember which live stream it was. It was about a week ago. Somebody was complaining about feral hogs being everywhere. Kicking like a chicken, that's a good point. If you know how to hunt, you're ahead. Parents don't teach their kids much these days. I just brought up the Great Depression and how things got hunted down to almost nothing. But that's a great comment because back then people knew how to do things. And there aren't as many hunters now, and there aren't as many homesteaders. So there would be a lot of people that starved to death before they realized what to do out in the woods. That's a great point. Feral humans. Wanda is opening up the bakery in a prepper town. I hope we can do this one day. That's fantastic, you know. Imagine what the cookouts on the weekends would be like an Amish community. Everybody's just coming together. Let's see here. Engineering preparedness. Thank you very much. Lurked for a long while. Thank you. Your videos are incredibly helpful and grounding. I'm finally contributing to the cause by actually engaging in discussion. Thank you very much. But you can do it without super chatting. I can't guarantee I'll see it every time, but I catch them sometimes. But thank you for that. And nothing wrong with lurking. I do that a lot. Arkansas Living's in here. What's up, brother? Sophia, good morning. West Virginia Homesteading Mama is in here as well. Okay, so I've actually got a couple of other things here. The UN, this comes from their website. I need some coffee on this because this one's off the wall. The UN's website, they say climate change is not gender neutral and that women and girls are actually the ones feeling the ripple effect of climate change. I read the article. Again, I didn't link it below, but you can go straight to their website. I read it 2 or 3 times and I still don't understand what they're talking about. I felt illiterate when I left. Like, I don't understand the parallel between climate change and how it's targeting certain genders. Yeah, Michelle says, WTF, I don't know. I really don't. I wanted to mention it because it was so off the wall. Usually it's racist and all this other stuff, but now it's climate change is not, they made a point, is not gender neutral. It does not affect males the same way as it does females for whatever reason. Sassy gal prepping, the climate don't care about you, son. No, it's skipping right over me and it's hitting these poor ladies out here. And so ladies, on behalf of the men that are, responsible for climate change, I eat meat sometimes. And my car takes gasoline and I have a gasoline mower. So I need to apologize for you having been oppressed by climate change. I'm so sorry. All about division. It really is. Yeah, it's division. That's the most sense that you can pull out of their article over there. And I think they were just trying to spin it to women. It's somehow they were trying to spin it as though women don't get included in the same jobs or something because of climate change. And I'm like, what does this have to do with the climate? I don't understand. They're grasping at straws at this point. Michelle said it's insanity. Those people are crazy. It really is. I mean, if you're the praying type, pray up before you go over there. But yeah, the UN actually has a website. And it reads about like you think it would read, like a Sesame Street commercial. How dare you, random gentleman. Well, Greta's mad at him now. Greta was on their side, but she's mad at him. Greta, at the last conference, she dropped a big F-bomb on him. And she said that, oh my God, what were they? Green something. She called it greenwashing is what she said. You know how they say history's being whitewashed and all this stuff. She says, you're greenwashing the climate disaster that's coming. How dare you, you effing idiots or something. She dropped it on him on live TV. Prepper Days, I did not know that. He says the Navy SEALs are suing over the whiskey shot. They need to. They really need to. Because it's gotten to the point of lunacy. I'm going to do another video this morning for the folks in the coffee club and the ones on Patreon. Y'all see it as well, but that's what we're going to be talking about, the lunacy. It's just gotten out of control. But no, I didn't know that about the Navy SEALs. Thank you. Carolina deals. Blue helmets won't do too well in Appalachia. They won't. Especially if they think that climate change is targeting only women for whatever reason. The Wizard military, they're under contract. They won't win, sadly. And I don't know what those contracts look like, folks. But it seems like if you can get bounced over this thing and the contract be broken, it seems like there would be a way out either way. Conserve Friends. Old Red, yeah, it's a restaurant in Tennessee, man. They have live music. It's awesome. It's kind of hard to get into. Now it stays busy every time we're there. Blake Shelton, I think, runs it or owns it or something. And then the USA Today, they are reporting, oh, here we go. Climate change, folks, will drop corn, rice, and soybean 20% and heavily impact farming by the year, wait for it, 2030. There's that year again. USA Today is reporting, again, this is on their website, by 2030, farming will be heavily affected. Well, no kidding, son. We knew this was coming 5 years ago. They were in the chat, Big T. What was the name of the shop in Pigeon Forge you recommend? Back to the Woods. They were in the chat earlier. I don't know if they're still here or not. But yeah, he and his wife are awesome. It's a very friendly shop when you go in. You know what I mean? They're not like car salesmen. You go in, you look at the stuff they got, and they're priced pretty decent. Yeah, no problem, man. Look at Big T. Look for the MREs because when I was there, they were cheap, and they were actually on sale a while back. I'm talking about $5 for an MRE, five-ish, I think. Back to the Woods. Yes, we are here. Oh, there he is, or her. I'm not sure which one is on here, but let me see here. I love Dollywood. Dollywood's awesome. A little overpriced for me. Back to the Woods, you're welcome, and I really am. At some point, we're going to be back down in Tennessee. My wife, ever since I had the Delta, she kind of skittish about where we go now. But I really want to get back down there, and I want to set it up. I got to find out if MD Creekmore is closer to Pigeon Forge or Zombie Farmer. I think he is in Tennessee also. Whichever one's closer, I'm going to reach out and see if I can get him to come down there with me and sit for the day. Or since they won't let you put a sign up, maybe we can have a couple of custom signs made and we can just stand out on the parkway and hold them up and do all that kind of stuff. See how long it takes the popo to stop and find out what's going on. Only one. I still need to check into that. Somebody mentioned that yesterday, that they have weaponized smallpox. Somebody had mentioned smallpox yesterday. I really need to get in there and look on that. I haven't looked it up. What's going on, Vaughn? Backcountry Preps is up in here. Good, happy hump day, sir. How will you be celebrating your hump day today, Vaughn? Let's go, Brandon. Of course, Robert. Let's go, Brandon. All day, every day. I'll drive down to Pigeon Forge. We might be able to work that out, OFC. It's the shop is not small, but they're going to be limited because they have a lot of stuff. They'll be limited on room. We may have to set up camping chairs right out front, in front of the door or something. We'll figure something out, man. This is the same shop, folks, that if I'm not mistaken, the city told them they had to take their sign down outside, and for really no rhyme or reason. They didn't give them a reason. You know, it's called Back to the Woods Prepping. I guess the city of Pigeon Forge went woke, and they are whiskey, Vaughn says. And maybe they're just, everybody's driving up there now. Maybe they're just, embarrassed of the word prepping. I don't really know. They're surrounded by shops that have signs outside, so I don't know. I thought it was ridiculous. We need a Prepper Nation social at Back to the Woods. We do. They have a park nearby, but I'm not sure. Back to the Woods, he was telling me that he was going to be doing or trying to do some training at some point in the park, and they were hassling him about that as well. So we might, who knows, we might be able to get a permit for the day at the park or something. Handy Prepper says Dolly Parton is woke, and I hate to hear it. I kind of thought so, but I hate to hear it because my son's a huge fan of hers. Michael Clay, Pigeon Forge ain't bad. Nice vacation spot. The traffic sucks. The traffic did not used to be that way. That's the only thing that I have against it. Otherwise, it's awesome. Oh, you're okay. We're getting it. Taking care of the sign. That's awesome. Sarah says, leave Dolly alone. Everyone loves Dolly. My son loves Dolly Parton. Gray the Beard, we need a Prepper Nation meetup somewhere. It looks like it's going to be in Tennessee. And I'll see if I can get MD Creekmore and OFC, but I'll see if I can get MD Creekmore and or Zombie Farmer up there as well. I'm not sure where they're at in Tennessee. Julie says, what do you mean she got woke? I have no idea. Honestly, Julie, Kyle, Rocky Mountains all the way. Colorado native here. I wondered when I posted the poll, I wondered about water. Like, what would the situation on water be? That was the first thing that came to my mind. Now, I've never been, to the Rockies, so I wasn't sure. I would go with what I knew, and that's the Appalachian Mountains. Miss M says, for the poll, I already live in the Rocky Mountains. Won't need to go far. Just going outside. Bugging out right out in the front yard. Okay, Kyle says, water is plentiful if you have filters. Michelle says, Prepper Nation Fest. Well, I don't want it to get too big because I don't want y'all to be disappointed when you get there and I literally look like I do now. I'm as goofy as I am now. I'm just talking about boring stuff and telling dad jokes. You know what I mean? Thank you, Jenny. It is a good store. And I still regret to this day not getting another bug out bag before I left. Bethany. John, do I need ID to vote in the poll? If so, can I use my Sam's Club card? No, we're like California up in here. We don't require any sort of ID whatsoever. You can be a bot and vote. Over here, we don't discriminate. We don't discriminate at all. You've never lived till you've been above 12,000 feet, son. Edward. That would take some getting used to. I think with the breathing and the O2 levels and stuff. But I would assume it wouldn't be so busy up there. Like there's not people all over the place, marauders and stuff. Kelly, come to Texas, John. I've been through Texas one time in my life. And number one, it was freaking huge. I had no idea. You hear Texas is big. But then when you drive across it, I was on a bus, but when you drive across it, you really understand how big it is. And couldn't stand Houston. We drove through Houston. We didn't stop. Dallas, couldn't stand it. Downtown Dallas, it was beautiful, but it's just not my place. The rest of Texas was beautiful. If you're anywhere near Garland, Texas, I would have bought a house there if I had the money as soon as I saw it. That's what she said. Michael said. Oh, man. I should have brought my office coffee mug. Yeah, you can drive for days and still not be out of Texas. I'm not kidding. It was still dark the morning we hit Texas, and it was dark the next morning, and we were still in Texas. We still hadn't gotten out. People, see, I'm not that familiar with Texas. Again, I've only seen it once, but people are always asking, where would you choose to move? Where would you choose to bug out? And honestly, of the states I've been to, I've probably been to, 11 or 12, West Virginia. Well, you believe it or not, folks, West Virginia, I'm telling you, that place is a honey hole for conservatives. It's got everything you need to bug out, to survive, and people seem to leave you alone, and it's conservative, and the government hasn't lost its mind yet. John Marskin Farm, thank you very much, and welcome to the Bluecoats. That's awesome. Charlie B, 10 hours, Georgia, corner to corner. My wife loves Georgia and Florida. I've never been. No, I take that back. I've been to Georgia one time, but it was to Atlanta, and I'm not a fan. She likes, oh my God, what is that place called? Where they do Savannah, where they do like the ghost tours and stuff. But she said it was beautiful. She went to Disney. This is right. When we first got married, I was working armed security, and I couldn't get the time off. And she went with her cousins to Disneyland. And so that's the only time she's been to Florida, and she said it was beautiful also. Marie, good morning. Thank you for that. What does that say? Number one, thank you. Somebody dropped that one yesterday, and I couldn't read it. Bring your own dirt. Southern Grit says lots of swampland in Florida. We got, what does he say? We got chewed it. We got a tree shaker. Somebody, about once a week, somebody will put chewed it in the chat, and it gets me after the fact every time. What's that guy's name on Swamp People? Troy, I think. Oh my God, chewed it. Savannah is beautiful. I mean, I've seen it in magazines. Doxy, it looks beautiful. You know, I've seen carriages and stuff like that, but I don't know if it's a place I'm trying to bug out, you know. Seems like it would be a little populated. Yeah, Jason gets it. Troy. Some people have never seen the show. They're like, what is he talking about? But Troy talks in his own way. OFC, I'm driving over the New River Gorge Bridge right now in West by God, Virginia. There you go, man. People leave you alone in West Virginia. Okay, so the roads aren't great, which is saying a whole lot because the roads here in North Carolina ain't great either. I think West Virginia's roads are worse, but people leave you alone. They're nice up there. They're nice in Tennessee, but they have that same kind of hospitality in West Virginia, except it's a lot more remote. Backcountry Vaughn says, never mind. He moved to California. He wants the people in his state to go back to where they came from. They are worse, Mrs. M says. USA Prepping, good morning. Thank you for that. Coffee. That's some red looking coffee though. I ain't riding dirty. I got a little cream this morning, but it's not Double Dead, Death Wish coffee. So it's still kind of black. My hubby is from West Virginia, Latina prepper. Well, he knows then that it's called God's country up there. Paul, I personally have not talked to First Waffen. If anybody has, please drop that in the chat. I've been wondering. I saw you ask for prayers for First Waffen the other morning, and I meant to mention that. Thank you for bringing that up. American Trucker. Oh boy, here we go. I could just tell. I seen it pop up in all caps. I said, okay, this is going to be good. What's not to love about Atlanta? There's a drug dealer and working girl on every corner. Well, somebody's got to be working right now, man. And big signs saying, get HIV test. We're not worried about Kung Flu, son. Oh, yeah. Atlanta, my experience. I don't know what we were thinking. We were young and dumb. We were like 22, 23. We went down. We used to be into wrestling. We went down and saw Monday Night Raw. And it was a horrible drive down. We get down there, and that is probably I've been to Arizona, and I'm telling you, there's something about Atlanta. Of course, we went in the middle of summer. It was the hottest place on earth, I swear. Like the asphalt and the buildings just sucked the heat up and reflected off. So it was miserable. Everybody looked like a gangster. Everybody that we went to some mall down there in Atlanta. It was a huge mall, and we went in. Don't wear camo in Atlanta. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to offend anybody that lives in Atlanta, but yeah, camouflage is not the norm down there. To be young and dumb again. Well, Robert, we would just be young again. We wouldn't be as dumb the second time around. We just got back from there, American Trucker. Man, it's a different heat though. When I was in Arizona, it was dry. Arizona heat to me was like being in a laundromat. You just got that dry heat hitting you all the time. Atlanta was like totally different, man. It was like I was on Mars or something. Yeah, Mike. Well, we moved around. My parents were in the military, okay? So we lived in, I think I'm pronouncing it right, Bremerhaven, Germany, when we were little bitty kids. And then we went to Tacoma, Washington. I was actually born in Tacoma, Washington. They kind of went back and forth. And then Virginia, I spent most of my life in Virginia and then North Carolina. But I'm so close to Virginia still, I can hit the border with a rock. Phoenix is another. I didn't go to Phoenix, Vaughn. I went out to visit my dad. He lives in Casa Grande, Arizona. And I think that it was close to an hour away from Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken. But we didn't actually go. Casa Grande was a smaller place. I mean, it was nice and everything, but my God, it was hot. Mames has been to Atlanta twice. Didn't leave nothing there. Don't need nothing there. Why'd you go back the second time, Mames? Was once not enough? I'm aces high, I'm everything. You know what I mean? We moved here. I don't even know how old we were. When we moved to the South, to Virginia, I was 5 or 6 years old. I got the baby picture still somewhere with my mom. And I'm wearing bell bottoms and everything. Got solid blonde hair. But anyway, we moved here when I was 5 or 6, and we've lived here ever since. So I've picked the accent and everything up. But yeah, I was actually born in Washington State. But again, we moved when I was so young, I don't really remember any of it. Forrest, did you see Ice Age Farmer's video on the pipeline? I haven't. I've had a couple of people. Yeah, I know. OFC says Washington. I've had a couple of people tell me Forrest, and I'm going to jump over there here in a little while and watch it. I emailed somebody back last night, and I said, I got to be careful. Every time I go over there, I end up ordering survival food when I'm done watching Chris, and that's no kidding. Birmingham. I've never been to Alabama. I've heard it's hot though. Just saying. Mrs. M, I appreciate that. Unfortunately, the good old boy style is the only style I know. And that's what I'm afraid if we have a meet and greet. I don't want people to get down there and be disappointed thinking that I'm like, you know, some college professor or something like that. I'm literally like this all the time. Kelly, thanks for the videos. Me and hubby watch you every morning. I appreciate that. And I think you were the one that was talking about the beef prices right before I went live. Donna, how do you get into the coffee club? Well, today's a good day to do it because I'm going to be posting the second video shortly. The link should be right below this video. And for those that are in the coffee club and also on Patreon, just a heads up, second video, there are no notes. I'm going to be all over the place. I'm going to be ranting on the whiskey shot and all the mandates and stuff. So be sure you subscribe to the backup channel below in case they ghost me after that video. Big T, I appreciate that. Lily B, John is a hot mess. I am a hot mess. I really am. I really am. But no, if we set this thing up down at Back to the Woods and, you know, OFC, if he can make it down there, if he can be off to make it, and if I can get MD Creekmore, Zombie Farmer down there, yeah, when you meet me down there, I'll be sitting in a camping chair like, what's up, son? I mean, there's nothing going to be glamorous. Don't drive too far to the event. You know what I'm saying? Southern Grits, welcome to the coffee club. Thank you. And I'd like to meet them too. OFC and Zombie Farmer and MD. MD's got a couple of pistols I'd like to have. Maybe I can work out a deal. But I doubt it. He knows what he's got. But folks, I'm going to end this and go ahead and refill the coffee and sit down for a second video, okay? I appreciate everybody being here. Thank you for everybody that shot the thumbs up or the thumbs down. Thank y'all. Y'all are helping us being found here on YouTube. And again, if you're brand new, we do this Monday through Friday. The Minister's Corner, Creekmore will have a hot date. I'm doubting it. I'm doubting it. But we do this Monday through Friday, okay? Live stream. So maybe consider subscribing. And I appreciate you being here. Y'all have a blessed day.